You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Welcome, everyone. Okay, so Kevin McCarthy started the Joe Biden impeachment today without an inquiry, without having a vote. And I know a lot of people are saying that, oh boy, here goes another impeachment. It's all showboating. There's a lot of showboating going on with impeachments, but I think this one's different, and I'll tell you why, okay? There have been several impeachments, right? Now now we got Biden. Well, he hasn't been impeached yet, but he will. Of course, Trump, President Clinton, and then before that was Andrew Johnson, who was Lincoln's vice president and became president after the Democrat John Wilkes Booth killed Lincoln. He was impeached. None of them have been removed. This one, I think, is different, and I'll tell you why that is. There's been a big change among Democrats when it comes to Biden. The liberal media and Democrats are doing something they never do. They're attacking the sitting Democrat president like crazy at the beginning of the election season in an election year. This is unheard of.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that. This is really unheard of. You know, Nixon resigned from office not because the Democrats were after him. The Democrats said, you're done. Okay. I mean, I'm sorry. The Republicans said you're done. The Republicans, I misspoke. The Republicans went to Nixon and said, that's it. You're done. You don't have our support. And that's why Nixon resigned. He shouldn't have. He should have made them go the whole route, but he didn't. But, you know, when Nixon lost the Republicans is when he was out. The Democrats always hated him. So what's happened with Biden is he's losing the Democrats. Even the Young Turks are attacking him and are fed up with him. I don't know exactly what's going on with the Democrats. I don't think anyone does. This is unheard of, unprecedented. They never do this. And they want him to drop out. And the pressure from CNN spends day after day talking about him being too old to run, all the problems.
I think you're right.
So we may get to the first impeachment trial in the Senate in the history of the United States that leads with a conviction and removal of a sitting president of the United States. And I think it is much more likely than people realize today. I know Kevin McCarthy. I saw Kevin McCarthy. I understand Kevin McCarthy seems like he's just going through the motions because, you know, he should have impeached this guy 83 different ways and times already.
Well, maybe he was waiting behind the scenes to make sure that there were enough Democrats and Republicans on board before he did this. And I think you're right. I think both sides want him out. Mm-hmm. And I think that that this might happen because the Democrats, like you said, he's not going to resign. He's not going to quit. He's not going to stop. He's not going to bail out. And this might be the only way they can get him. I think probably what's happened is they've gone to him and they've told him, now this is my speculation, that we're going to impeach you and we're going to vote you out. You can resign now or say you're not going to run. And he refused to do it. He told them to go F themselves. Mm-hmm. So they've gone ahead with the impeachment now. I think that they're calling his bluff or whatever you want to say, but that they went to him and tried to make a deal to get him to quit or bow out of the next race. He said no, and they're moving forward with this process.
Well, it's very.
That's my opinion.
It's very strange, and this is going to a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation going on here because we don't know, but something has changed in the last few months where the Democrats are fed up with Biden and want him out, and it's not to bring Kamala in because she is as stupid gets. She did this interview over the weekend on one of the Sunday shows. I've not really heard Kamala talk that much.
Yeah,
I don't pay too much attention to Kamala. I haven't really heard her speak in a long time. She's dumber than I thought she was. She is really a stupid person. And I don't say that just because she's a Democrat. I mean, she is really a stupid person.
Yeah.
So here's what would happen. And these are things you got to think about. There's something going – I understand this is speculation, but this is very possible based on the Democrats turning against Joe Biden. So a president has never been – there's been a lot of impeachments, but there's never been a conviction in the Senate. They need 3/4 majority for the removal. This has never happened before. And I don't think anyone looking at this impeachment today thinks that's even in the slightest bit possible, but I think it is. So this is what would happen. Kamala would become the president. They'd swear her in immediately. She would have to nominate. This is what I think they're doing. I know this is crazy.
Oh, boy.
They would then she has to choose a vice president. She has to nominate a person to be vice president. And the way that works is very much like a nomination for a cabinet secretary. They nominate them and they have hearings. But instead of having hearings in the Senate, the hearing is in the House. This happened with Gerald Ford. Remember, he wasn't elected at all, and Spiro Agnew, the vice president, had to resign. So the question is, who would she be nominating to be vice president? Because everyone's talking about, who are they going to run? The Democrats are planning on nominating the Democrats that want Biden out. Okay, the Democrats do not plan on nominating Kamala Harris. They plan on nominating whoever Kamala chooses as her vice president. Who that is, I have no idea. It doesn't have to be someone in Congress. It could be the man on the moon, okay? It just has to be someone who's 35 years of age or older and a natural-born U.S. citizen. So it could be anybody.
Let me figure out how this would work. Say, this is again all speculation. Say he gets him. He's getting impeached.
Impeached is in the House. Then they have the trial in the Senate.
Say they vote him out
in the Senate. Yes.
Okay. This would all have to happen.
It's a conviction. It's a trial with a conviction.
Right. This would all have to happen by like next spring. Okay.
It could happen quick.
And then she assumes the power. God help us.
She becomes president immediately.
She has to nominate a vice president. I
Correct.
think she would choose. God help us, Pete Buttigieg.
No, I don't think so. No. It would be somebody that they think could win.
Well, they're so deluded, they might think he can win.
No.
It's not going to be Gavin.
It's not
going to be anybody.
A couple years ago, it would have been Mayor Pete. But he's turned out to be a buffoon, even in Democrats' eyes. Okay, I think the most likely pick is Governor Cuomo from New York. That's the most likely pick.
So say she chooses him. Possible,
but it could be anybody.
Possible. Then when it comes time to run, she's just not going to run?
Yeah. They're going to skip her over.
She's going to agree to that.
She will always be a president.
Okay, hold on. How would they put her up? How would that work if she becomes the president, chooses a VP? How do they get their nominee then? How does that work? They don't go to the convention.
They would have to. No. They'll have a convention still. And then they'll nominate someone at the convention.
Okay.
And I think that.
And you think she would just bow out and say, nominate somebody else?
One thing we've learned since President Trump came down the escalator is that this country is run by the deep state, okay? Especially the Democrats.
Yeah.
So the deep state want Biden out. They put all this pressure on. All these things that are coming out about him with his bribes and all this evidence came from the FBI,
right.
Came from the Justice Department. So they have someone in mind that they want to plug in to be the vice president to, it's hard to say this, but to President Kamala Harris. They will pass her over. She'll always be a president, the first female president, right? And she's minority. So the chances of having another female minority president in her lifetime or any of our lifetimes is slim.
Well, what if she doesn't agree to all this?
I don't think she wants to be I think she is so stupid. She's terrified of the job because she gets the briefings. And I think she would welcome not being president again. I think she would just like to finish this out. And she'll always have that title and that prestige. She'll have her page in the history books. They'll write books about her.
Well, she can't beat Trump. I mean,
no.
She can't beat him. He destroyed her.
No one can beat Trump.
No, I agree with you, but especially her. They had, and I'm just going from their perspective. They would have to put up somebody that they feel can beat Trump. And I think you're right. Cuomo would be strong.
At the top of the list.
Newsom would be one of those two. They need somebody that's strong, that's well known, and that can take on Trump,
and that's coherent. Someone that's tough.
That's tough.
And I think Cuomo's
a good,
because what they got to think. What they got to think about is
because he's been really silent lately, which is really unlike him.
He resigned in disgrace. He should have wrote it out, but
he should have.
Cuomo, they need someone who they think could take Trump on. Newsom used to praise Trump, and he's kind of wimpy. Cuomo is kind of like a more sophisticated version of Chris Christie. He's kind of rude and nasty and mean, but he's a little more polite about it. So I think Cuomo, Governor Cuomo, not Fredo, his older brother, I think he's at the top of the list, but it could be anyone.
Well, he's another tough New Yorker. They have him and Trump have a similar style and a similar personality. Trump's obviously more likable and much more charming. But Cuomo, I don't like him at all. But they have that similar scrappy New York city toughness.
Yep.
And you're right. To me is Chris Christie is just a loser, and he's pathetic. And I think that his biggest problem, I hate to say this, is one of his biggest problems is his weight. He's really just never been able to lose that weight, and it's like such a running joke with him. And if he would have slimmed down a lot and gotten in a lot of good shape.
He had that surgery with the band.
Well, it didn't take.
Must have broken the band.
Maybe, I don't think he would have beaten Trump, but maybe he would have been the butt of so many jokes, and maybe he would have been the guy. But he's too busy stalking Trump and he's got a thing for him, or he's getting paid to do it. He just bought a $5 million mansion on the beach in New Jersey, so he got that money from somewhere.
Wow.
But I think you're right. I think Cuomo's a good thing. So we'll see what happens. The other thing is that Biden, that they go through this process of impeaching and things start to come out that make Biden really nervous, that can hurt him and his family. But see, I don't think he cares.
He doesn't care about his family.
I don't think he cares how he looks or his family looks. I just don't think he gives a damn. He is willing to throw his whole family under the bus. I just can't see him giving up and saying, you know what, enough is enough.
No, he's not going to resign.
I got to spare my family the humiliation.
Biden has been doing crime since Nixon was in office. And he's not only has he gotten away with it, he's continued to enhance his criminal activity.
Right.
Okay. So he doesn't fear any consequences.
No, he does not.
He's criminally insane and doesn't even realize that what he's doing is criminal.
Right.
Okay. So that's where the impeachment and the removal comes in. And I really do think that there is a 60-40 chance that he'll be removed in the Senate, that they want him out really bad.
I agree with you on that.
I don't know why. He's got their proxy war going in Ukraine against Russia for the military-industrial complex. I don't know what he did, but whatever he did, he upset the deep state as much as Trump does. They want this guy out.
Do you think it's just because he's so out of it?
No.
And he's such a disaster. They know. And
they can control that. They can control that.
Maybe not. It's getting harder. And they see what he's really like behind closed. We get little snippets, but they're with him all the time, and they see how bad he really is.
My guess is
maybe they're like, there is no way this guy can run again.
I have one guess that I've thought for a while as to why they want him out. The withdrawal from Afghanistan, if you remember that Afghan withdrawal, one of the things that came out about that is that it was so immediate and unexpected and unplanned without any preparation that they left behind all our files in the embassy with everyone that ever worked for the United States, and that the CIA had spent 20 years setting up an intelligence network.
I see.
And it all got burned. All their sources got burned, the whole network. So it's and I think what happened in Afghanistan, obviously,
you think that's what pissed them off?
We were pulling out, okay, but the way we did it was botched. And I think what may have I talked about this at the time, that he had one of these Alzheimer moments where he's like, I wear the big boy pants, I'm the president, and he started barking orders out.
I wear the big boy diapers.
That they had to follow, and he ordered without the okay of the deep state the botched withdrawal. And since he burned this entire 20-year operation the CIA had, that's when they made the decision that he's got to go. And there may have been other instances when he's had these fits like this, and maybe because the senility and the dementia has gotten so bad that they're not able to control him as easy as they thought they would, because he goes through these moments of things. But I know this sounds like a crazy thing I'm telling you guys, but there's something going on here, and I don't think many people appreciate this. I cannot ever remember the Democrats going after their sitting president in an election year as we're approaching, the season heating up. Never happened before. And it's not likely to happen again. In fact, they're going after Biden in many ways like they're going after Trump. Okay, it's because all this information that
when the media goes after him,
CNN in particular,
that
CNN's deep state.
That's the deep state.
CNN's deep
that's
state.
Right. And maybe other media outlets,
but mainly
when the
CNN.
mainstream media is going after somebody,
Democrat.
The deep state's behind that, or anybody when they go after anybody.
So, guys, let me know in the comments your thoughts on this. I really do believe that is what is going on. Now, I want to tell you guys about the MyPillow pet beds. We have 2 MyPillow pet beds. Our dog and our cat love it. And I got a message from a listener on YouTube today who's talking about how much her furry family member loves the MyPillow pet bed. Let me just tell you a couple things about the MyPillow pet bed, which is just $19.99 with our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE at MyPillow.com. Couple things about it. It's got the same patented fill inside as the MyPillows. The pets love it. One thing about every pet we've ever had, I tell this to Kathy all the time, dogs and cats know one thing better than anything, how to get comfortable.
That's true.
And our dog and cat love that pet bed. The reason we have 2 of them is because the dog's on one, the cat's on the other. And if the cat's on it, our dog gets really upset that she can't have the whole pet bed to herself. She doesn't like to share it. So that's why we've got 2. Right. And Kathy and I have had every pet bed that is on the market. And the other pet beds, most every single one of them has foam inside with a cover. You can never wash the foam, and the cover you can wash, but you can never get it on right, even if you air dry it.
Oh yeah.
And dogs and cats are animals, right? They're dirty. They vomit. They go to the number 1, number 2 on these things. They do all kinds of things. They get their dander in them.
Especially when you have an old dog like we do. Our dog's really old.
Our dog's 15.
And she's been starting to have issues with...
She's like Biden.
She needs diapers.
Yeah.
She's having some issues with her
bladder.
She has
dementia.
And so I have had to wash it a little bit more, and it's still fine. I mean, it's really an easy... It's not a problem.
With the MyPillow pet bed, you don't have to take the case off. You just wash the entire thing.
Yes.
You wash the entire bed. That patented fill inside and the outside. You wash the entire bed. We wash it in hot, and you dry it, and it's like the day you got it every time. Comes in multiple sizes and multiple colors. And again, the MyPillow pet bed, $19.99 with our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE at MyPillow.com. And remember, you can use our promo code KANE on any of the specials at MyPillow.com, not just the ones I talk about. And when you use our promo code KANE at checkout at MyPillow.com, you're supporting the podcast, my YouTube channel, and the radio show, all my content. All right, so use our promo code KANE, KANE, and get your furry family member a MyPillow pet bed.
In every child's heart lies a question, one that shapes the world around them. And that question is the title of the new book from author Divine. Daddy, what is love and what does love look like? Journey with young Ashanti as she sets out to unravel this timeless mystery. From the warmth of morning pancakes to the joys of heartfelt cheers, explore the mosaic of moments that weave the tapestry of love. Daddy, what is love and what does love look like is more than just a children's book. It's a reflection on life's simplest yet most profound emotion seen through a child's curious eyes. With every page, readers will find themselves transported, experiencing love's essence in its purest form. This is a tale perfect for warm cuddles at bedtime or sparkling meaningful conversations in classrooms. Rediscover love and let it echo in every whispered story and shared glance. Order your copy of Daddy, What is Love and What Does Love Look Like from author Divine, available right now on BarnesandNoble.com, Kobo, and Apple Books. Attention craft enthusiasts and gift hunters. Your search for the perfect piece ends at craftbyevovibe.etsy.com, where creativity knows no bounds. At craftbyevovibe.etsy.com, immerse yourself in a wonderland where creativity blossoms and craftsmanship thrives. You'll find everything you're looking for, from unique home decor to personalized treasures that speak to your soul. Are you ready to embark on a journey of artistic discovery? Then visit craftbyevovibe.etsy.com. That's Evo, E-V-O. Craftbyevovibe.etsy.com. And let your imagination take flight. This Is Your Last Warning from author Donna Silvera is a book that unravels the prophecies of the future. This is not just another book claiming to unlock secrets. This Is Your Last Warning presents a progressively convincing, evidence-backed timeline of events to come. This must-read book explains the vivid signs that are happening all around us and their unexpected solution, and points us to what we can expect to see next if we continue to ignore the warnings. This Is Your Last Warning is a book every Christian and everyone interested in the end time should have. Discover the timeline that everyone will soon be talking about. Do yourself a favor. Purchase This Is Your Last Warning today. Available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon. From the imaginative mind of author Johnny Nevermind comes the new book, The Demiurged, a hip-hop conspiracy fable, now available on Amazon. Imagine a world where menace to society collides with the Matrix and Disney Pixar's Soul, all set to the rhythm of hip-hop. From the gritty streets of Pomona, California, to the mystique of the Philippines, journey through a realm of gangs, mysteries, and untold romances. But that's not all. Unveil mind-bending conspiracies, military secrets, and a message so crucial it might just be the wake-up call humanity needs as shadows loom. This novel is a thrilling comic book-paced adventure at first glance, but dig deeper and its horrifying truth will grab your soul. It's a revelation of our ancient adversaries, our world's clandestine resets, and the key to breaking free. This is just the beginning. Book one of a two-part series that promises to uncover humanity's hidden truths and the path to our salvation. Are you ready to embark on the journey? Then order your copy of The Demiurged, a hip-hop conspiracy fable from author Johnny Nevermind. Available on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, and all major online booksellers.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Okay, some very bizarre things are going on. Just bizarre. So yesterday, a story broke that the largest lithium deposits, which of course lithium is the necessary component of the lithium batteries for electric vehicles, the largest lithium deposits in the world were found along the border of Nevada and Oregon. And it was believed that Afghanistan had the largest lithium deposits. Well, there's an update on that today, which I'm going to get to in just a moment. This is amazingly insane. So just to do a quick capsulized Reader's Digest version of yesterday's events and the lithium deposits. When we pulled out of Afghanistan, Biden gave Afghanistan to China. China's got Afghanistan now. It's a client state. They got all our tech, and they got the lithium mines, the largest lithium deposits in the world. Now, before we took over Afghanistan, after 9/11, they had two exports out of Afghanistan, right? Heroin and terrorism. And when we took over, we did a geological survey of the entire country and found the lithium deposits. And now China has those lithium deposits, which were the largest lithium deposits in the world.
Is that what that withdrawal was all about?
It was part of it.
Giving them that
part of it.
that land.
Part of it. He sold it gave it to China.
That's exactly what that was about.
Biden sold them to China. But anyway,
sold us out.
So then yesterday, big story came out. There was a massive lithium deposit was announced. It was newly discovered by geologists in America on the Nevada-Oregon border. And that's huge. And then today there's an update. Listen to this. This is crazy. America's lithium boom, because the boom started with the Nevada-Oregon thing. Yeah. America's lithium boom is spreading and heading to North Carolina, as it was just announced that there's a lithium mine in North Carolina that was shut down in 1988 that is being reopened.
What is this all about? All of a sudden, it's like the gold rush. We have lithium.
So, okay. So here's the thing. And this is very important stuff, people.
Yeah.
Very important stuff. I have nothing against electric vehicles. If you want one, God bless you. Okay? They're not for me.
No.
When we bought a new car a couple years ago, we thought about getting an electric car. We thought about getting a Tesla.
Right.
I like Elon Musk. I think Elon Musk is cool. And then our brother-in-law drove his family to Orlando from Miami and ran out of charge halfway there. And he forgot, he drives the car himself to work and back all the time. He has a long drive to work. But he didn't calculate the weight of the family, the weight of the family's luggage and everything, and that messed him up. He could only get halfway there and he had to stop and charge. That's crazy. And when he told me that, I was like, there's no electric vehicle for us. And then when I bought my MAGA scooter 2.0, I still have the MAGA scooter 1, by the way. I never sold it. I tried, but it was a mess. But anyway, the MAGA scooter 2.0 is a Vespa. And Vespa has an electric scooter, which costs about twice as much, by the way, as the regular gasoline scooter. It has a 50-mile range and only goes 35 miles an hour. So what I can walk. I mean, what's the point of that? And it doesn't charge on EV charging stations. It charges on a 3-pronged electrical outlet.
They're not practical.
No, it takes hours. It's twice as much, and it's not practical.
Another problem, they have not been able to sell the American people on this because this is not Europe, okay, where everything's really close. This is America. It's a big country.
Yeah.
And Americans have a long history of road trips and like to get in their car and go from New York to California if they freaking want to. Or just driving from Key West to Tallahassee is like a 12-hour drive. I mean, Florida's huge. Just driving from one end of Texas to the other. I mean, you go to Europe, some countries are like the size of Rhode Island. You could drive across the country in 2 hours flat. America is big, and this is a car culture, and we need something that's going to get us from A to B without having to stop. And you know what? I watched somebody talk about this, which they made such a good point with the electric cars, that they have a gas car, but when they drive home from work every night, they see people, they live in New York, and then they drive home. They see people, women especially, stopped on the side of the road charging their cars at night
alone.
After work. They're all alone, and it takes about 45 minutes to an hour to charge their car. And this person's like, this is not safe.
They're stuck on the side of the road,
women. They're
waiting
on the
for
side
Ted Bundy,
of the road or at road stops.
for BTK to come by.
Exactly. They're not in a regular gas station where they can fill up in 2 or 3. I've been to a gas station a few times when I was younger where it was nighttime and it was a little sketchy and I was nervous and I was able to fill my car and be boom out of there in 5 minutes. What would I do if I had to sit there for an hour in my car, vulnerable, at 20 years old, waiting to charge my car? And it is just not something people want to do. People in Americans especially don't want to sit around and wait to charge their car. They want to get to where they want to go. They don't want to sit there for an hour after they've been working all day long.
Yeah.
And, maybe they don't have a charging station at work. It is not picking up with the American people. It's a gas country.
It's crazy.
And this whole climate change and everything is all a lie. And it's all about getting us off gas so China can be the superpower of the world.
So let me get back to this thing.
This lithium thing, I want to know the reason behind this new discovery.
So this is insane. So the United States, not China with that Afghan mine, the United States now has the largest lithium deposits in the world on the Nevada-Oregon border.
How convenient.
We have this other lithium mine that I was just telling you about in North Carolina they're going to reopen.
Yeah.
Okay. I did not realize this until, I don't know, the last year or two, but the entire green movement is funded by China. Yep. China is on a war footing to be the lone superpower in the world. Right. And they're doing this through bribing American politicians, bribing and blackmailing, like they have those honeypots like Swalwell and all that stuff, but bribing and blackmailing.
Right.
And the green movement is being funded by China because China does not have oil.
Right.
So they want everyone to go to the electric vehicles because they have had the monopoly on it. They manufacture them,
right.
And they had the largest lithium deposits through this Afghanistan mine that Biden sold to China. Now that we have the largest lithium deposits in the world, and now this other mine, this is going to be an interesting test, okay? So what's going to happen? The politicians in Washington, led by Joe Biden, sold Afghanistan to China, and because China wanted those lithium deposits and other things, but they really wanted those lithium deposits for the electric vehicle batteries. So Joe Biden and these Washington politicians that are owned by China, they're not going to want us to use our own lithium. They want us to use the Chinese lithium not our lithium. Like they make us buy oil from the Middle East as opposed to drill here and have the pipeline or Anwar in Alaska.
So what is this all about all of a sudden discovering these
I don't know,
lithium
but
mines?
I want you guys to think about this now. The United States now has the largest supply of lithium on the planet for electric batteries for electric cars. We have the largest oil deposits in the world. We have more oil than Saudi Arabia. We have more coal than anywhere else in the world, and we have more natural gas than anywhere else in the world. Those three things, the only thing that is not included in that provides energy is nuclear. We have a lot of that too, but we have more of the 4 top sources of energy on the planet than any other nation on earth. But our politicians have been bribed by all these foreign interests, the Middle Eastern countries, OPEC, and China. So what's going to happen is they're not going to let us use our lithium any more than they let us use our oil because they have to pay back China for the bribe money. They're going to make us get our lithium from China. They're going to make us get our oil, not from Alaska or from more drilling here from OPEC. They're not going to let us use coal, and they're even trying to wind us down off of natural gas, which has natural in the name of it, which implies it's good and healthy. So, I mean, what's going on here? This is why Trump is so important, because all this BS that we're talking about, I always call Trump and the top people around him the untouchables. They're too rich to be bribed.
Yeah.
And that's why someone like Ron DeSantis is bad news. Ron DeSantis, Walmart Melania has expensive taste, and he can't afford to turn down the donors or in all these other places. Walmart Melania, she's got some things she wants.
I wouldn't be so sure. I've seen her clothes.
Well, they don't have the money yet. He's not the president.
She does not dress like Melania.
They don't have the money yet.
Melania wears you can tell she's wearing $3,000 shoes.
Minimum. Yeah, but you know what? Casey DeSantis would like to have $3,000 shoes. They can't. So,
I guess that's why they call her the Walmart Melania.
Yeah, that's exactly right. President Trump and the top people around him are too rich to be bribed, unlike these other politicians. Now, the other politicians are rich, but through the bribes, and they got to pay back. I'll give you an example.
Well, I have a different take on the lithium thing before you move on. But go ahead and give your example.
Okay. So Obama made this Iran deal where they gave those pallets of cash on cargo planes, and then Trump came in. That was just the first shipment. Trump came in and stopped all that crap. And the Iran deal is not a very popular thing. So look what happened. This is the second time this has happened. Biden just bought back some American hostages from Iran and gave them $6 billion. So the Democrats, John Kerry and the Democrats and Obama, made all these promises to Iran they weren't able to deliver on for Trump's first term in those 4 years. They're delivering on the Iran deal and giving Iran money by buying back hostages. You understand what I mean? They got all these scams going. They owe Iran, they owe China, they owe the Middle East. All of our politicians, except for Trump and those handful of people you can trust around him, like Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene, are on the take for all these different groups. And the lithium they owe, China must be freaking out now. They must be so ticked off that the largest lithium deposits were discovered in the United States. And you watch, the Democrats, they're going to try to use environmentalism just like they do in Alaska with Anwar. Anwar's out in the middle of nowhere. It's like the surface of Pluto. Nobody goes there. They are going to do whatever they can do to talk about the environmental impact, blah, 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 that we can't use our own lithium. We got to get it from China through the Afghan mine that we used to own till we gave China Afghanistan.
I have a different take on this. I think they've known about these lithium mines for a long, long time. And I think there's something else up their sleeve, and they're just letting it out to the public that look what we just found.
Yeah.
I think they've known about them for decades, but they haven't tapped into that because they've been helping China. And now maybe for some reason something has shifted.
Yeah.
And maybe they're realizing that this pro-China policy is really affecting them, and they're going to lose a lot of elections in the next election cycle, and maybe poof, all of a sudden we have lithium. We're going to start mining our own lithium. I think they've known about it. They're just making it known to the public. All of a sudden, 2 pop up that nobody knew about. There's a reason they got something planned, and I think they are going to mine it, and I think they're going to take advantage of that. It would be wonderful. It would create so many jobs.
Yeah.
And look, hey, I don't like electric cars, But if they can mine another energy source and use it practically and affordably, I'm all for that. Okay. As long as it's mined here, it creates jobs, it doesn't hurt the environment, and it won't. None of this mining ever does. And it's something that's positive for America. I think that's great. Yeah. But getting off gas and oil and coal is just about weakening this country.
That's right.
And making other countries stronger. China wants to be the superpower of the energy source, but they don't have enough to fuel the whole world. I'm sorry. They don't have the resources we do. And we have, like you said, all these natural resources, but I think there's a reason they've just discovered it. And I think they will mine it, I hope. And I think there's a reason for that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We shall see. Now, I want to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. And remember, those of you that are Patreon supporters, you have access to every episode of the program, commercial free. And there are other perks. And Kathy and I put a lot of exclusive content on our Patreon page for Patreon supporters only. So make sure if you're a patron of the program, you take advantage of all that, all right? But if you'd like to support the program by becoming a patron, there is a link in the episode description. You go to that link, it'll take you right to our Patreon page and walk you through on how to become a patron of the program. One of the perks, our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Melissa, Maria in Texas, Richard, David, Heather, Arctic Fox, John, Paulette, Carlos, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P., and Rome, Wisconsin. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your support. We're going to take a quick break and be right back.
Are you craving the best golden crunchy egg rolls or lumpias? You can have them delivered right to your door with Dandy Pantry on Etsy. Online at etsy.com/shop/Dandy Pantry. You can enjoy their delicacies from the comfort of your own home or anywhere. They're golden brown, crispy egg rolls that are filled with savory pork, beef, or chicken. You can have them with carrots, celery, onion, and their irresistible seasonings. And the best part, you can even dip them in sweet chili sauce. Whether you're serving guests, heading out to a party, or sending a delicious gift, Dandy Pantry on Etsy has you covered. You can enjoy them yourself for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Pair them with your favorite noodles, rice, or anything else that you like. Cheers to the good life. Don't wait. Order now at Dandy Pantry on Etsy at etsy.com/shop/Dandy Pantry. That's etsy.com/shop/DANDYPANTRY. Dandy Pantry on Etsy, where delicious meets convenient. From author Jamil Hijazi comes your next must-read book, Never Settled. Available on Amazon. In the ever-changing tapestry of life, sometimes we traverse paths woven with challenges, but they're also sprinkled with moments of joy and revelation. Never Settled is a beacon of courage, an odyssey from a troubled youth to a world of exploration, understanding, and recovery. When you read Never Settled, you'll witness the author's journey that takes you around the world twice, deep into the realms of spirituality, philosophy, and the mesmerizing rhythms of music, the magic of films, and the exhilaration of sports. You'll embark on an introspective journey that intertwines personal experiences with a profound exploration into mental health. It's an honest account into the author's life, with a greater look into the collective. At the end is a discussion and an exploration of the author's experiences, opinions on trends in mental health, and a vision for the future. But this is more than just a memoir. It's an invitation to a larger discussion, an honest and sometimes surreal dialogue on mental health trends. Join author Jamil Hijazi as he shares his reflections, experiences, and vision for a future where understanding and empathy reign supreme. Never Settled. Available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback. Order your copy right now. Halloween will be here before you know it, so it's time to infuse some spooktacular Halloween vibes into your wardrobe and living space. At lsprintanddesign.etsy.com, you'll find a treasure trove of custom Halloween goodies that are sure to cast a spell on you. lsprintanddesign.etsy.com have a delightful range of products, from whimsical Halloween shirts to magical tarot trees, and so much more. Fill your space with their enchanting wall tapestries, or sip your brew from their specially designed mugs that capture the spirit of the season. Whether it's a treat for yourself or a thoughtful gift for someone on your gift-giving list, each item is crafted with love and dedication, promising you not just a product, but a piece of art that resonates with the festive spirit. And here's the magical part. You can sprinkle your own touch of creativity by customizing designs or text, making each piece uniquely yours. Check out the spellbinding collection right now at lsprintanddesign.etsy.com. Use the promo code Brian and conjure up a fabulous discount of 20% off your order. That's right, 20% off your order, but you've got to use the promo code Brian. Visit lsprintanddesign.etsy.com and get the Halloween season started. lsprintanddesign.etsy.com. When a loved one passes, greed can shatter a family. From author Mae Charles comes a revealing book that gets right to the heart of family betrayals. Misplaced Trust. No, not in my family. This must-read book shares the shocking true stories that no one talks about when death leaves a void and money takes the lead. When you read Misplaced Trust, brace yourself as you venture in the tales that blur the lines between trust and deceit. These aren't just stories. These are stern warnings, lifting the veil on the dark side of inheritance battles. Author Mae Charles brings light to raw narratives where loved ones turn on each other, blinded by their greed. This isn't fiction. This is reality. A grim reminder to not misplace your trust. Brace yourself, because once you start, you won't be able to put this book down. Order your copy of Misplaced Trust. No, not in my family. Available online at misplacedtrustbook.com or on Amazon. Be prepared to be astonished. Misplaced Trust. No, not in my family. From author Mae Charles. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Okay, so listen to this. This is absolutely amazing. Zelensky. This is there's an article in the Gateway Pundit. Zelensky is urging Ukrainians to focus on the war as he has mobilized the old, the infirm, and the crippled, even women, for combat.
Oh my gosh.
Warns of a long conflict ahead. Now, I tell you guys every week, if you want to know what's going on in Ukraine, go on YouTube and look up Pavlo in Ukraine. Pavlo's a nice guy. I got nothing against Pavlo. He's the most honest reporting you get out of Ukraine. He's in his 20s. He's a Ukrainian YouTuber, and he was vlogging on YouTube prior to the war.
Yeah.
He speaks English. His English has gotten a lot better in the last couple of years. And I found him after everything started in Ukraine, and I was looking up Ukraine, came across, and I subscribed to his channel, Pavlo in Ukraine. And he's mid to late 20s. And he just was at the beach the other day in Ukraine. He and his girlfriend, they make vlogs going to hotels, and they're renovating their house. They went to the pet store and got a new puppy. He fixes up cars. It's all on his YouTube. There's nothing wrong with him. He's a nice guy, and he's just making a living over there being a vlogger on YouTube in Ukraine. Okay, right. And so I'm not attacking him, but you get to see how it really is. Okay. His family have a farm with grandma and mom and dad, and everything's fine. He's got a bikini model girlfriend.
There's been zero interruption of his life.
No, and Zelensky's calling on, it says here, the crippled, I didn't even know you could still use that word, the infirm and the elderly, and even women to fight in the war. Well, Pavlo is of draft age, and he's not going anywhere. He's going to the beach in Ukraine.
This is another grift. He's doing this to make the world
Zelensky.
To make the world think that Pavlo. They're desperate. Right, Zelensky. He's doing this because the money's drying up, and he's trying to make people think that they're desperate, that they're losing, that a lot of people have been killed, and this is all they have left. I think it's another grift.
Yeah.
Look what this guy and Biden have gotten us into.
Oh my goodness.
This is an endless money pit. Did you ever see the movie Money Pit with Tom Hanks? It's a great movie. That's what this is like. It's a money pit that we're never going to get out of until somebody else takes over the White House and stops it. But as long as Biden's there, all he does is spend. That's all Democrats know how to do, is spend our money.
That's true.
I don't know why. The only reason people vote for Democrats is because they very successfully malign one group against the other.
It's true.
They have very successfully painted us as bigots, racists, terrorists, whatever you want to call it. And they use fear tactics to manipulate. Like when you get callers like that call these lunatic Democrats, and you try to get them to like name facts or name something they don't like about Trump or something they do like about Biden. You're a racist. I mean, that's all they can say. Yeah. They're stupid. They're useful idiots, and they have successfully brainwashed people and divided people against each other. I was on Facebook the other day, and somebody posted a picture from Italy of this group of people in this town that got together for dinner. They had like a big long table set in the street, and everybody that lived on that block came out to eat dinner together. And they're like, wouldn't it be nice if we could do this in this country where people do have block parties, but not as much as maybe they did in the 70s or 80s when we were growing up, because of social media, because of the division. Nobody trusts each other anymore. Yeah. People get divorced over politics in this country now. Friendships are destroyed over these stupid arguments and things that the media is constantly putting in our face. And people argue over the craziest things. And you just don't see that in this country anymore. And the only time, there's been 2 times in my life that I can remember, and I'm 53, where I saw a lot of unity in this country. It was 1776.
Well, after 9/11.
Well, I was going to name that as my second. 1976. When I was a kid, 1976. I remember it vividly. I was 6 years old. And I remember what a big deal it was with the patriotism. Because my birthday's in July. I'm July 2nd. So July 4th is always a special holiday for me. And I remember around the time of my birthday and Bruce Jenner on the Wheaties and the Olympics, it was a big deal. Everybody came together for that. There's some things that bring people together. And then the next was 9/11. But you just don't see that anymore. Even the Super Bowl divides people. Sports used to bring people together. And now because of these stupid activists, it's divided people. Yep. You know, I mean, nothing is sacred anymore. There's nothing. They're destroying our culture. Nothing in this culture brings people together anymore. If God forbid something like 9/11 happened, people would be arguing over that too.
Well, that's liberals.
I mean,
that's the Democrats.
We deserve it.
That's what they do.
The unity we felt after 9/11 was like nothing you'd ever see again in this country. It was amazing. Everybody had an American flag on their car, on their house. It was like the tie the yellow ribbon thing, when the whole country did that, or when people got together during World War II.
That was the American hostages in Iran.
Yeah, we all did that. That was another time we all united. Or the way people made victory gardens during World War II. There's certain things that have happened where Americans come together. And I just don't see that happening.
No, now
at all.
Now back to Pavlo in Ukraine. I check in with Pavlo on YouTube like once every couple of weeks. Okay. And the reason I do is at some point, Zelensky's going to take him off of YouTube because he's showing what life is really like in Ukraine, as opposed to Zelensky. We're getting the cripple out of the hospital and the elderly from the nursing homes.
We're desperate.
They're not desperate. And I'm not exaggerating.
Do you think Zelensky's trying to get us to send troops?
Yeah.
That's just occurred to me. Maybe that's what he's trying to do, is get us to send troops.
Obviously, Zelensky doesn't know about Pavlo in Ukraine. If he did, they would take him off. Zelensky has shut down opposition press. He said there'll be no presidential elections as long as the war goes on, which will be forever. There's no freedom of religion. So he just doesn't know about Pavlo. Don't tell him. If anybody knows Zelensky, do not tell him about Pavlo. But as soon as he finds out about Pavlo from Ukraine, he's going to shut him down, because Ukraine, I'm not saying that nothing has happened in Ukraine. I'm not crazy. But after you're done listening to this show, long after, wait till the show's over, go on YouTube and look up Pavlo from Ukraine. Watch his most recent couple of videos, and you'll see what I mean. Now, Robert Allen Miltenberg, we've promoted a couple of books of his here on the podcast. He sent me...
He's a big fan of the show.
Oh, yeah. He sent me a video today, and it was Matt Gaetz on the floor of the House talking about Kevin McCarthy. I don't like Kevin McCarthy. I don't trust Kevin McCarthy. I've called him for a long time the Judas of Mar-a-Lago. And as I said at the beginning of the podcast, this impeachment inquiry, that he did, he felt obligated to do it because there's so much pressure on him from Republican voters.
Yes,
to
they're
do
tired
something.
of them not doing anything with all this corruption.
He's in with Biden.
Insane.
Kevin McCarthy's in with Biden,
obviously.
So anyway, Matt Gaetz, who I've seen Matt Gaetz speak in person a couple times. I've seen Matt Gaetz in person up close. I've met Matt Gaetz, and television adds weight to people. So, by the way, so does YouTube. The most common thing people tell me when they meet me is, "You're so much thinner, Brian, than I thought." Well, yeah, that YouTube adds weight to it too. But anyway, Matt Gaetz in person is skinny as a string bean, and his head is massive.
Yeah, he has a big head for his body.
Now he's gotten a new haircut, so his hair's
he needs to hit the gym. He's really got a skinny, tiny
Well, he used
body.
to be heavy.
He's a beanpole with like a big head.
He used to be heavy.
Yeah, but he needs to work out.
And if you remember when he was talking about how he helped Ron DeSantis debate.
I remember he was on the treadmill.
They showed the debate prep when Matt Gaetz was helping DeSantis debate, and Matt Gaetz was on the treadmill.
Yeah, that's when he was on his weight loss kick.
So he used to be pudgy,
Right.
And now he's super thin. And and in person, though, when Matt Gaetz speaks in person, it is electrifying. When you're in person with him, I know when he's on TV, you watch, and I'm going to play this audio. You're like, oh, I agree.
He's oozing charisma. That guy.
It's absolutely amazing.
Oozes out of him.
When he walks up on stage and gets in front of a microphone, it's just electrifying. So anyway, this is Matt Gaetz today on the floor of the House talking about Kevin McCarthy, the Judas of Mar-a-Lago.
5 minutes.
On this very floor in January, the whole world witnessed a historic contest for House Speaker. I rise today to serve notice. Mr. Speaker, you are out of compliance with the agreement that allowed you to assume this role. The path forward for the House of Representatives is to either bring you into immediate total compliance or remove you pursuant to a motion to vacate the chair.
Oh, boy.
We have had no vote on term limits or on balanced budgets as the agreement demanded and required. There's been no full release of the January 6 tapes. As you promised, there has been insufficient accountability for the Biden crime family. And instead of cutting spending to raise the debt limit, you relied on budgetary gimmicks and rescissions so that you ultimately ended up power of the subpoena and the power of the purse. But here we are 8 months later, and we haven't even sent the first subpoena to Hunter Biden. That's how you know that the rushed and somewhat rattled performance you just saw from the speaker isn't real. At this point, during Democrat control over the House of Representatives, they had already brought in Don Jr. 3 times. And we haven't even sent the first subpoena to Hunter Biden. Power of the subpoena and power of the purse. Only thing the 118th Congress is known for at this point is electing Kevin McCarthy speaker and underwriting Biden's debt. And unfortunately, there's only one of those things we can remediate at this time. Power of the purse. Our leadership right now is asking us to vote for a continuing resolution, a vote for a continuing.
Okay. So what he wants to do is they made an agreement with Kevin McCarthy that they could recall him and have a vote for a new speaker at any time. And the move is on to make that happen. That's why Kevin McCarthy came out with this impeachment inquiry today.
I'm sure they when they helped him get elected, which that was Trump definitely had a hand in that. Remember Marjorie Taylor Greene holding up the phone, DJ on her phone. Part of that agreement, what he just said there, to give him those votes was to impeach Biden.
Yes,
and those other things he mentioned, he has not done it. And I'm sure they've contacted him directly behind closed doors and told him, we're going to call you out on this. And he hasn't done it. And you're right. He's now impeaching him because they've told him, this was what we agreed upon. You're not doing it. Biden needs to be impeached. I'm sorry. If any president needed to be impeached, it was him. The corruption is obvious, and he needs to answer to the American people and deal with it. And it needs to be exposed exactly what's happening in a formal setting. You know?
So that's why he did what he did today. And he's in trouble.
Good for him.
I tell you, weird things happen. This is such a strange thing. A lot of you guys know I'm a Star Trek fan, and I'm a big Star Trek fan. Have been my whole life, and I watch Star Trek. And these new shows aren't worth all that much, but I still watch them. They could put anything on TV. They could put on television, a black screen with nothing, no dialogue, no music, and call it Star Trek: The Black Screen, and I'd watch it. Anything that's named Star Trek, I'm going to watch it, good or bad. And this is something that really pays. So the actors are on strike, and the Star Trek actors who are mostly out of work are on strike. How convenient. They go on strike while they're out of work anyway, you know what I mean? Like, they're already, their life's a strike, they're out of work. But I am finding out that some Star Trek actors that I'm fans of, without me even having any interaction with them, have blocked me on Twitter. And
well, you must have had some interaction.
No, they came.
You must have tweeted something.
They came. I don't know. I haven't
done
talked with them.
Their thread.
I have been blocked on Twitter by. Most recently, I just found out today. Jerry Ryan, who plays 7 of 9, the Borg on Star Trek Voyager. I've never even met her. I don't know why. I guess she came across me on a tweet. And
somehow
she just decided to block me. I've been assimilated by the Borg and blocked on Twitter. The Borg don't like me.
No, you weren't assimilated.
I was unassimilated. She's trying to cancel me. Yeah. She won't let. That's right. I cannot be assimilated by their liberalism.
That's right.
So she blocked me. I've had no interaction with her. I've not talked to her, and I was also blocked by Wesley Crusher. What's his name, Kath? I can't believe I cannot remember his name. The actor that plays Wesley Crusher. He blocked me too.
Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton blocked me on
as long
on
as
Twitter.
William Shatner doesn't block you, you're good.
You know, I don't understand these. I understand people block people on Twitter. I know that. But it's so strange to me that I was watching a movie a few months ago. Our daughter was home. And I can't remember what it was. And I went to make a comment on Twitter about this movie. I can't even remember the name of it. It was a great movie, big movie, A-list movie. And the famous director of the movie had blocked me on Twitter.
Judge Apatow.
Yeah, Judd Apatow blocked me on Twitter.
Judd Apatow, yeah.
Judd Apatow. I mean, what movies has he done, Judd Apatow?
He does a lot of raunchy, stuff.
He did that 40-year-old virgin or one of those Knocked Up or something. I don't know what he's done. Yeah. Why would Judd Apatow have me blocked?
I don't know.
What am I known in Hollywood? I must be known in Hollywood because these. I don't know who all has me blocked, but on occasion,
I know Rosie O'Donnell has you blocked.
Oh yeah, Rosie O'Donnell has been blocked for sure. Yep. There's been some other celebrities that have blocked. There are some celebrities who follow me. I don't want to start mentioning them because then I don't want people to reach out to them and get blocked by them too. But it's so weird. These very famous. Well. Okay, Wesley Crusher, Jerry Ryan aren't very famous unless you're a big Star Trek fan, but Judd Apatow is pretty famous, and it's so strange to me that these celebrities that I don't know enough about me to block me. Now I know that we're the number 3. We've been named the number 3 must listen to conservative podcast in America. Number 1's Mark Levin, number 2's The Blaze, and the Brian Craig Show podcast is number 3. That's true. So. I understand, what I always tell people about broadcasting, assume everyone everywhere is listening.
Right.
I don't mean that in an ego way, but whatever you say, assume anyone and everywhere and every person can hear it because once you say it and you're broadcasting, it's out there, So I always have that in mind, but I think it's kind of strange that these celebrities have me blocked on Twitter that I don't personally know. I'm not big into blocking people. Right. For me to block somebody, they would have to do something very bad towards me personally or just totally harass me. These are people I have had zero interaction with. So Liz Cheney is still around. She's on Twitter, and she retweeted an article that quoted Putin. Putin says that the prosecution of Trump shows that the U.S. political system is rotten. Well, that's true. I mean, when you're arresting 4 times and getting a mugshot of a president of the United States, and it's all political, he's done no crime, that's rotten. So Liz Cheney tweeted that, and she says, Putin has now officially endorsed the Putin wing of the Republican Party. Putin Republicans, that's MAGA, right? This is Liz Cheney. She's calling us Putin Republicans. Putin Republicans and their enablers will end up on the ash heap of history patriotic Americans of both parties who believe in the values of liberal democracy will make sure of it. Okay. This new Red Scare they're doing, back in the 50s, everybody that they didn't like was a Ruskie. You're a red, you're a Ruskie, better red than dead and all that stuff. And you're a commie, you're a Ruskie, you're. This is what they're doing now. If you disagree with the war in Ukraine, you're a Putin puppet. If you disagree with the war in Ukraine, you support Russia. If you disagree with the left or the political establishment, you support Russia. This is so stupid. President Trump in South Dakota at that Christie Dome speech on Friday, which was so great, he said, people ask me what side I'm on. He says, I'm on the side of people not dying.
Right.
And I'm just on that side. I'd see no purpose in this war, certainly no need for U.S. involvement. And I'm for this war ending. It's a ridiculous war. And I know Pablo doesn't seem like things are going bad, but some people have died and more probably will, I'm for that. I'm just for peace. And I don't understand this idea that if you are against the U.S. involvement in the war in Ukraine against Russia, or you believe that the United States should have peace talks and end the war, all of a sudden you're pro-Putin. I have no opinion on Putin. I don't care.
Well, this is how the left
Russia's not our enemy.
People,
yeah.
Anytime you're on the right and you give an opinion, they have to disqualify you or put you in a box of, like if you wear an American flag, you're just a bigot now and a terrorist and a far right lunatic. So if you agree that the war is bad, you're instantly on Putin's side, or you don't have to take a side. You're a conscientious objector. I'm sure there were people during Vietnam who weren't on any side. They just didn't like war altogether, and it was totally pointless. I don't like America getting involved in all these other civil wars. It's expensive, and I think Zelensky, now that I mentioned it earlier, I think the reason Zelensky is saying they have to bring in the old ladies and the disabled people, I think he's trying to get Biden, and maybe this is going to happen, maybe they concocted this bullshit story to get Biden to send over troops. And they're just putting this out there. I mean, this is something I can see them cooking up together. Like, you know what? You come out and say that you have to get disabled soldiers and 12-year-olds like they did during the Revolutionary War or the Civil War, and that'll give me an excuse to send over my first batch of troops. Yeah. I think that's what's happening now, and I think you're going to start seeing him sending troops over there. We're going to get in this war one way or another, not just financial. Yeah. And I think that is going to be the catalyst for this happening now is Zelensky making that statement. I'm telling you, that's what that's all about.
One last thing I agree with you. One last thing I just want to mention, this actors
send over all those transgender troops.
This actors strike, I just want to say a couple things about this. Okay. Drew Barrymore has a talk show, and talk shows and such have shut down, and she kept her show going, and they're going after her on this. Okay, because she's in the union and things like this. And, not everybody that works in Hollywood is rich and can afford to be on strike forever, okay? And a show like Drew Barrymore, hundreds of people work on that show, and they need the work. So that's why she's starting the show back up, even during the strike. But, the Hollywood unions are really the last big, powerful unions in this country.
You think so?
I think Hollywood's going to break the union. The union, like everything else, the unions put people out of work, okay? They did good work 100 years ago when, the reason there was a need for unions is when electricity came in, they were making people work day and night because they had lights at night all of a sudden, okay? So the unions did some good things 100 years ago, but they've done nothing since other than send jobs to China in every field you can think of. And Hollywood doesn't need the unions anymore,
Well, they're working in other countries,
Canada,
now.
and so
I think they're going to get rid of Fran Drescher as the head of SAG.
She just got reelected.
Well, that's crazy.
She just got reelected.
Is making no leeway with this.
Well, here's the thing.
That's crazy. I like Fran Drescher, but she's obviously not getting on TV and screaming your head off. And making threats is not the way to negotiate. You've gone nowhere with her. That's a mistake.
A few years ago, I was listening to an interview with an actor, and he had been in a lot of science fiction shows that I watched. He was on one of the Stargate shows, and they filmed all those in Canada. And he was talking, he says, in Canada, there are no residuals for actors in Canada.
It's a lot easier to make stuff up
and that's
there.
why they go to Canada. And, I was talking about Star Trek and Jerry Ryan, and all that. She was in the new Star Trek Picard show. All the Star Trek shows are made in Toronto now, not in Los Angeles, all of them.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the Hallmark movies are in Canada, too.
They don't have the same union issues there. They don't pay residuals.
Plus, the actors look American. It's not like going to Korea I like South Korean movies
and the accent's
and TV
almost
shows.
The same.
But they can go to Canada and they can work with the accent. There's a few words and they say a lot, and my family's Canadian. Their accent's a little different, but they look American, so they can pull that off. If you watch a Hallmark movie, most of them are Canadian actors, and they can't do that, with Asia or South America because the actors don't look American.
And
you know what I'm saying? So it's an easy transition.
And what's happened is I've seen some actors because a lot of actors are doing interviews because of the strike, and some of them are saying, "Well, I haven't filmed a movie in California in 10 years, and I saw Harrison. I think it was Harrison Ford. I heard say this recently. Yeah. He said the only things that have been doing production in Hollywood for the last few years are talk shows."
Yeah, and Dennis Quaid, he's been on interviews a lot, and Mark Wahlberg, they're getting a lot of things made in Texas.
Yeah, so
apparently.
The unions are done. The Screen Actors Guild and the Writers Guild and the Producers Guild, and all that stuff's done. And this is and a lot of it's because unions have destroyed everything in this country. They've destroyed the middle class. And what they've done in Hollywood is how they've been catering everything to China in the last few years, a lot of movies. They really don't need the American market anymore. There's other places they could work. They're marketing to other people. And I got to tell you, I'm kind of happy to see the last American union collapse, and that's the Screen Actors Guild.
What about the teachers
it's about
union?
the teachers union. Most teachers aren't even in the teachers union. Government workers, that's a big one.
Most teachers are definitely in the union.
No, they're not. No, they're not. There's a lot. There's a lot of studies on this. A lot of teachers are in the union because they're bullied to be in it by union bosses. If you're not in union, you get in trouble. But the teachers, the unions that are the most destructive in America now, the teachers union, which has lost a lot of juice. That Randy Weingarten's a weirdo. Nobody takes her serious.
For
sure. She's a clown. But the government workers unions. The federal government unions, those are very destructive.
Right.
That's a really bad one.
Yeah, like the postal workers.
They should not. Yeah, and they have a lot of juice in Washington.
Yeah,
those federal workers. Unions are bad news. Listen, we're out of time. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will talk to you next time.